Hello to everyone, and welcome to the Capacity Building webinar TripleA. My name is Konstantina Tripodi, and I will do the presentation for today's webinar. First of all, I would like to start with saying a few words about JRC and why JRC and TripleA together. JRC Capital Management Consultancy and Research GmbH is an innovative and research-based financial services company focusing on quantitative investment strategies in highly liquid currency markets. So JRC as an asset management institute is dealing with various types of investment and financial instruments and proficient with all aspects of risk assessment and management. As part of their business, they are experienced with creating, structuring financial products like bonds or funds for institutions as well as retail investors. With a long history of European Union project, JRC has a strong network with both organizations of the financial community as well as international business and research institution. JRC has rich history and can be considered a senior player in the investor industry in Germany among SME financial services institutes. General information on the TripleA project to quickly present some key highlights. Source of funding, the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. The TripleA project start date was September 1st, 2019, and has a duration of 30 months and is scheduled for completion in March 2022. Overall budget of project is 1.5 million euro, and in total there are 12 partners involved. The 12 partners involved is carrying out the TripleA project and TART strategies. Located across the European Union are JRC and Delphi from Germany, ECP and ABN AMRO from Netherlands, ABU, DUA, Piraeus Bank and UPRC from Greece, DFT from Italy, Creata from Spain, 7 from Republic, and the DEF from Bulgaria, and VIPA from Lithuania. To give a brief introduction, one moment, sorry. To give a brief introduction and the overall scope of the TripleA project, the goal is to bridge the energy efficiency gap by supporting the early stage investment value chain of energy efficiency project. Plenty of good ideas exist, but often fail to get financed due to a lack of experience or well-defined energy efficiency criteria specifically implemented in the banking sector. The TripleA approach therefore aims to promote investments that have an extremely strong capacity to meet their commitments, to identify investments that foster sustainable growth, reduce the time and overall effort for investment conceptualization, increase the efficiency and transparency of the decision-making process, and make investing in energy efficiency projects more predictable and therefore attractive for financing. TripleA enhances energy efficiency investments by analyzing large amounts of successfully completed or currently ongoing projects and capture the feedback of the stakeholders through bottom-up consultation processes. Through this process, we aim to elaborate and categorize financing instruments and risk mitigation strategies, as well as suggest the most suitable financing programs, models on a case-by-case basis. Once completed, the results be shared through a web-based database which supports cross-country analysis and comparison between energy efficiency projects. The database is currently already accessible through the TripleA website. However, new iterations and updates are still being made. The goal of the web-based database tool is to reduce the overall uncertainty for making energy efficiency investments, spread the knowledge and insight on innovative financing options, showcase their replicability of innovative financial instruments. This database enables comparison per member state and identification of market maturity, which leads to a fruitful policy analysis for scaling up energy efficiency investments and reducing the uncertainty for investors, financiers by simply going through this one standardized TripleA tool. The development of the standardized tool are subsequently the energy efficiency investment benchmark test allows users to effectively assess sustainable energy investments and better integrate energy efficiency in investors and financiers' investment strategy. By doing so, TripleA tries to make investing in energy efficiency projects to become mainstream. Once the project finalized, to the tools offer an easily navigatable overview of attractive project ideas for financing institutes, a selection of energy efficiency investments that are ready for further support, an in-depth funding strategy and portfolio of energy efficiency projects that match that of interested beneficiaries, general stakeholders consultation and knowledge exchange among participating organizations, and extensive background information and insights into 8 strategically selected case studies. The full length of the TripleA project, this is the title is enhancing at an early age the investment value chains of energy efficiency project. TripleA, and simply put, has a practical, result-oriented approach seeking to identify investments that can be considered TripleA investments. The project defines the 3 research questions: how to assess the financing instruments and risks at an early age, how to agree on the TripleA investments based on selected key performance indicators, and how to assign the identified investments ideas with possible financing schemes. By answering this question and making the insights easily available and accessible, we make energy efficiency investments more transparent, predictable, and attractive. To delve deeper into the core research questions, step 1, assess. This step is based on identification of member states' risk profiles and mitigation policies, and making this available through the web interface, which enables national and sectoral comparable assessment of the market maturity, and a place for good practice experience exchange among stakeholders. The assessment tool has a go, no-go character that gives a pre-screening of investment ideas at EU level and in accordance to the country context and sector-specific characteristics. The tool also takes into consideration the categorization of financing instruments and risk mitigation strategies. The goal is to have at least 100 energy efficiency financially attractive projects that emerge through this step upon project completion. In step 2, agree key performance indicators are defined that together agree on what makes a AAA investments, and does this on a case-by-case basis. The projects that emerge is the previous step are benchmarks by testing their achievement of these KPIs. Currently, the threshold criteria and benchmarking classes have been defined, and we know have between 50 and 80 AAA projects identified. Step 3, assign. This happens through is country demonstrations that show replicability, that good overall exploitation. This step includes the definition of a clear recommendation on what key energy efficiency investments are based on, and including the national and sectoral context. This step will show how the selected energy efficiency project could be financed in the short to medium term. The previous steps determined whether an examined project is feasible and realistic and what form it should take. This step is the making step between energy efficiency projects and possible financing schemes. Currently, 50 project phases are in the projects of elaboration and should be finalized in July 2021. In addition, the inclusion of energy efficiency actions as a valid financing method are expected to be incorporated on a very short term. So to quick summarize this introduction part, 6 clear outcomes are visualized for AAA. First, we aim to enhance the investor interest in energy efficiency projects, set up a AAA rating system that can assess early stage investments, give a clear definition of key performance indicators and create a benchmark tool, provide a simple, easy, accessible web database in energy efficiency financing, make links with other energy efficiency certification schemes, and lastly, to promote European priorities and targeted policy actions that could be help leverage more private funding into energy efficiency investments. So with a general introduction out of the way, it's time that we jump into the main content of this webinar and introduce the 3 key topics that are a core part of the AAA. AAA Assess, Agree and Assign tool, namely the EU Taxonomy and its application, energy efficiency risks and possible strategies to mitigate, overcome them, and energy efficiency financing mechanisms solutions following the AAA approach and the logic of the AAA tools. These three topics are considered important in order to make an informed and sound investment decision concerning energy efficiency measures. It is important to remember that due to time limits of this webinar, we will not go into as much detail for its topic as possible. However, we will be giving a general overview and cover the topics that are important for the understanding of the working of these AAA tools. If you are interested and would like to learn more, we recommend to have a look at the sources of further reading listed at the end of this presentation, or ask us where to find more information after the webinar. Thank you. So, why are we talking about the EU taxonomy? Okay, one of the goals of the AAA project is to foster sustainable growth. Even though there is no doubt that advancements in energy efficiency contribute to climate change mitigation and can thus be considered as sustainable. It is still important that the EU taxonomy is taken into account, on the one hand, to strengthen the aspect of sustainability within the AAA project, and on the other hand, because the taxonomy will soon become highly relevant of many companies, financial markets, participants, and policy makers. How does the assess tool incorporate the taxonomy? In the third step of the assess tool, filtering mechanism is built in to ensure that only projects that comply with the so-called substantial contribution criteria end up in the AAA pipeline. After selecting the specific projects measured in step 1 and 2 of the tools, the user has to verify that the respective thresholds, as defined by the technical screening criteria and published in the European Commission's technical expert group. But what does this all mean, and why does the taxonomy play such an important role? So the taxonomy is an important enabler to scale up sustainable investment and to implement the European Green Deal by providing a clear and detailed classification system, EU Taxonomy Regulation, that identifies economic activities which contribute to the EU's 6 environmental objectives. The need for a sustainability taxonomy predates the Green Deal, but it is an important enabler of the Green Deal's integrated sustainable economic reforms. The key environmental objectives are consistent between the taxonomy framework and the economy sector target for policy reform under the Green Deal. So for an action to make the definition of an environmentally sustainable economic activity and thus be considered taxonomy aligned, it must adhere to the following criteria, which altogether make up the technical screening criteria. First, contribute sustainability to one or more of the environmental objectives, do no significant harm to any other environmental objective, and comply with minimum social guarantees. Benefits of applying the EU taxonomy are leveling the playing field and enhancing reputation, for example, reducing greenwashing, enhancing the availability and quality of corporate data of sustainability, supporting the harmonization of reporting, and promote consistency and alignment with national and international standards. So the application of the EU taxonomy comes with many challenges for both banks and companies, but many recommendations have already been developed to overcome these challenges. Challenges for banks and challenges for companies. Challenges for banks, unspecific use of process, data operational, meeting clients' needs. And challenges for companies, SMEs, small, medium companies, incomplete definitions, exclusion of novel technologies, a lack of clarity and resources available, the taxonomy's disclosure requirement and expectation to have limited impact. So the risk assessment follows to the go no go step and is applicable only for go investments. For example, investments that meet the substantial contribution criteria set in each case as defined by the EU taxonomy. The aim is to calculate the investment's total risk, and for this purpose, a qualitative approach along with a quantitative one is idealized. The TripleA SIM focuses on risks that could possibly emerge at an early stage of project preservation, for instance, in the development phase. However, some risks may only occur in later phases of the project, such as in the implementation or operation phase. There are 5 main risks categorized and related factors: financial, behavioral, energy project and regulatory, economic, technological, planning, and operational. Risk factors can further be classified into the following categories according to their conceptual characteristics: borrower specific, sector and project category specific, country specific risks, and project specific risk. Total risks calculation: after calculating the risk factor values, the risk categories values are calculated by overgauging the values of the risk factors of which each category is composed. Now, there are 4 main strategies to deal with risk. Risk can be reduced or eliminated, transferred, absorbed, or accepted and avoided. Risk reduction or elimination suggests that remediation activities are planned in order to reduce the level of the risk's impact or probability of occurrence in the project. A highly seeded technique used for risk reduction in hedging, which can be used to mitigate energy prices and energy taxes volatility, as well as interest rates volatility. Another risk reduction technique mentioned is the literature, is the use of fixed price contracts, while for interest rates volatility, it is suggests choosing a long-term fixed interest rate rather than a floating one. The key mitigation strategies arising per its identified risk categories within the TripleA project and SIM are financial, a careful study of the creditworthiness of the borrow collaterals, etc. Behavioral, consuming more efficiently, consuming differently, and consuming less. Energy market and regulated, hedging, fixed price contracts, and etc. Economic hedging, forward contracts, further future contracts, swaps, option contracts, long-term fixed interest rates, etc. And technological planning and operational energy saving guarantees or insurances, performance bonds or insurances. And now we'll go to financing, energy efficiency financing mechanisms. The TripleA assigned tool is responsible for the matchmaking of the TripleA investment ideas, which successfully paced the criteria set by Tool 1 assess and Tool 2 agree with the possible financing schemes. Thus, formulates the pathway to be followed by involved parties to achieve project delivery, contracts, underwriting procedures, and so on. The target beneficiaries of the TripleA assigned platform are, on the one hand, financing bodies that are interested in investing in the energy efficiency sector. These bodies include commercial or green investment banks, investment funds, investment trusts, developers and managers of financial products, and other relevant types of financiers that search for a profitable portfolio of AAA projects to finance. On the other hand, the assigned tool is oriented towards energy efficiency companies and project developers, including energy companies, schools, credit professionals, management investments companies, and construction companies that need to find capital to implement their projects. The main financing instruments derived in the AAA tools include equity-based financing, debt-based financing, grants and bonds, a quick overview of the pros and cons, and typical characteristics of each are presented in the table, as you can see. The key financing models considered in the AAA tool are composed of energy services contracts, such as energy performance contracted and energy as a service, third-party financing, soft loans, on-bill financing, property assessed clean energy, energy efficiency mortgages, crowdfunding, and cooperatives. As there are several alternatives regarding the selection of the financing instruments or program, choosing the appropriate one is critical for the success of the energy efficiency investment. And for conclusion, we have more details about stakeholders group. The required knowledge for the project is provided by several stakeholders groups that are active along the entire energy efficiency investment value chain. And the graphic you can see a selection of the relevant stakeholders groups and their typical interactions. However, not all stakeholders groups are equal, and some are more important to the AAA projects than others. Financing bodies and companies, project developers are the major recipient of all actions and can therefore be marked as key AAA beneficiaries. Additional target groups which enable the development, implementation, testing, and exploitation of the tools are policy makers and policy support in institutes, researchers, and academics in business and techno-economic fields, and other groups. So how can stakeholders benefit from AAA? Project developments can tap into the project results from an early stage, receive support on how to apply for funds, get to test the tools, and in doing to so help co-develop the AAA tools according to their needs. Investors, financiers get early access to AAA identified investment opportunities. Policy markets tap into the broad network of engaged experts, stakeholders, and get to test their developed policy frameworks to their country peers. Researchers could potentially design new innovative financing schemes and extend the project results to applicable domains or supply be inspired for any other future research. To warm up and summarize why AAA, together the AAA tools assist in making energy efficiency investments transparent, predictable, and attractive for investors and financiers by reducing uncertainty. This happens by integrating the EU taxonomy categorizations and EU risks mitigation strategies with new and innovative financial models specifically available to energy efficiency investments. The tools enables you to identify attractive projects and ideas for bankers, funds, and other financial institutions. Enables the benchmarking of the AAA of the energy efficiency projects and selected of the AAA energy efficiency investments, which increases with their presence and merits the attention of funding organizations. Propose fitting funding strategies, green bonds, energy efficiency actions, and so on, that better matches the examined investments and respective beneficiaries. By combining the taxonomy risk and by combining the taxonomy, risk and mitigation strategies and financial models, which we have presented over the course of this webinar, a critical assessment and recommendation can be made for considering energy efficiency projects. A key observation here is that evidence shows that employing these simple steps doesn't happen in the scope of energy efficiency project assessment, and is therefore a huge opportunity for companies and financial instruments to improve upon, especially when taking into account the upcoming legislation chances. Energy efficiency projects play a crucial role in transiting to the future green economy, so it is important to properly assess each of them, and by doing direct more private and public investments toward the sector. Investors are so to still be hesitant towards energy efficiency investments, in part due to improper risk assessment. When pairing energy efficiency projects with innovative financial models that have emerged over time, partly due to the intrinsic benefits of energy efficiency projects, allow to truly unlock the project's potential. And lastly, as a general remark, conclusion, energy efficiency investments need to be investigated and considered more carefully in their economic recovery plans. The private sector is not going to do this alone. Thank you for your attention, and I want to thank you all for your participation in this webinar. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.